Hello everyone, welcome back to Uni Tunes. Today we're super excited to be talking to the very talented Sarah Yagki, an indie pop rock singer-songwriter from here in Sydney, talking about her sophomore EP, I Love You, I Lied. Can you please do us the honour of introducing yourself?
Hey guys, my name is Sarah Yagki, and I am super excited to be here with Uni Tunes discussing everything, I guess, Sarah Yagki.
So before we jump into the interview, we'd like to acknowledge and pay respects to the custodians of the land on which we broadcast, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and we extend that respect to the elders, both past and present, online, that is. And I'd also like to acknowledge that today, the day we are recording, is International Women's Day. So go women.
We're going to get started by letting the listeners get to know you a bit with some rapid fire questions. So, you ready?
I think so. I've got to be.
Perfect. All right, we'll start off by asking how long have you been making music for?
I've been making music for about 10 years. I accidentally found a very old song called Smile by 10-year-old Sarah, and I was like, oh, this is really horrible. But she tried. So I'd say 10 years.
So who's your favorite artist right now?
My favorite artist, to be honest, and has been for a very long time, is someone called Eden. They're an Irish artist and they're electro pop, but a lot of their music, soundscapes, lyrics constantly inspire me. So, yeah, Eden.
Cool. What would be your music unpopular opinion?
I think that might not be an unpopular opinion, but as a female vocalist, I prefer and love male vocal tones so much more. I love the richness, I love the depth of it. I think they're stunning, and I say that as a female vocalist, so that would be my unpopular opinion.
So what's your favorite venue to perform at?
I really love Oxford Art Factory, and I don't just say that because at the time of this recording, I'm playing over the weekend there. I think that the stage is really intimate and close, so I get to interact with the audience a lot more. I get to have that stage presence really come through really easily, and it's also just a really sick venue. So, and they have great drinks for after the show. So, yeah.
Gotta love the Oxford Art Factory cocktails. The blue one
You've got
especially. I forget what it's called, but it's so good.
Yeah, the V one. Oh my gosh, it's so
Yeah.
good. Sorry, I have a lot of energy. Let's continue.
So the final rapid fire question: explain your sound in just 3 words.
Most recently, I definitely would think it is a little bit cinematic, a little bit moody, but extremely energetic. Whether that's an energy that comes from the emotion, the energy that comes just from the overall sound. I think that with pop music, especially stuff that does seem a little bit more cinematic and moody, it can have the unpopular opinion of not being as energetic, but I definitely think that, yeah, I would label it as that too.
So now that we've finished the rapid fire questions, let's just jump straight into the interview. So congratulations on your brand new sophomore EP, I Love You, I Lied.
Thank you.
Can you shed a bit of insight into what this body of work is all about?
The body of work had really been written over a whole year, and it was a year of me really trying to discover what it was to not only lose and gain the people that were in my life, especially being in my early 20s, trying to navigate how that felt, but also the process of losing bits of myself in between that all. And I think that, especially for me, I definitely am a type of person that holds on to people. Like, I try and see the best and try and keep going with that. And this sophomore EP is all about me, figuring out those stages of loss, whether it's with someone else or with myself.
So your EP, it's about loss, but have you gained anything in the process of writing it and bringing it to life?
Yeah. I think that what I've gained in it is being able to showcase my sound on not just more of a closer soundscape to what I want to be putting out there, but also a closer insight to myself and the way that I write and the way that I want to express my own experiences. And I think that with pop music, it does have a tendency just to be like, oh, this is there because it sounds sick, which there's nothing wrong with that too. But personally, as an artist in pop, I want to make sure that every lyric, every sound, everything I'm saying really gravitates to the story, and to make that as authentic and as vulnerable as I can by ripping out those pieces of myself to that. I think that's what I've gained as well, to be able to share a closer insight on not just me as an artist, but me as a person and how those two relate to each other.
So you've shared that songwriting serves you as a coping mechanism for PTSD. Do you find that it's a fine line between relief and pain when revisiting trauma through music?
I think that it's a fine line, but it's definitely been something for me that I didn't start off writing with the intention of doing that. But as I got older, there'd be certain memories and certain situations that if I was chatting to someone, I couldn't really recall as much until I was really singing it and I was writing it down. And there is this sense of catharsis when I'm doing it, but there's also a visualization that I don't get any other way besides doing that with writing. And I think that because with this, it's more the PTSD, it has started from quite a young age. So the way that, I've learnt with, chatting to psychologists and being really, positive with like mental health, because I think that's such a big thing as well. It's become a way that I get to snapshot points in time that I may really just have forgotten along the way if I did not write about it. And as an artist, it has taken me a while to really speak about that. And I think it's because you see a lot of artists that speak about depression, anxiety, and different mental illnesses. But growing up, there wasn't really one for me that was speaking about trauma as much, especially in the pop field, and how that relates to the way that we see things, the way that we interact, the way that we write, the way that we process things ourselves. And I guess that me being able to do this, I hope, can also be a platform for someone else going through a similar thing on how to really express it, those different stages.
And that's incredibly inspiring. So it's great to see you being open and hoping to, I guess, make music like you said that doesn't just sound sick. It does, but also can take someone and help them through their own experience. And when we're doing that, and whether it's making music or trying to navigate our own feelings, we never do it alone. So, how has collaboration helped you bring these very personal songs to life in the EP?
I think that the process of collaboration with me on the EP, it's been able to be in a space where I am able to talk to other producers and musicians and really, I guess, I think that for myself, I don't see as much beauty in what I do as I should. And then when I talk to other people and I share it, I see the way that they connect, and it almost encourages and inspires me to keep writing as well. And I think that I've been really lucky to work with a great band and also work with the great producers. The three main ones, James, Nico, and Yanni, they all produced the tracks, and being able to come with them with what I wrote and explain what I really wanted with this EP and how I wanted the songs to sound. They really understood that and understood how I wanted every single sound and every single thing to really have something that meant part of the story. So I guess the process of collaboration has been, it's been great, and it's been able to have that vulnerable soundscape and that vulnerable chat of, this is what I want, what do you think? And I think that as an artist, I'm very open to hearing other people and wanting to know what they think too, because writing it, you can get very single-minded and very tunnel visioned in that. So yeah.
So a lot of your tracks have a really captivating diversity of sounds, such as the ticking sound in Truly, or of course the static speech at the end of the EP. Why do you choose to include these more musically unconventional layers into your music?
I think the process of incorporating more musically unconventional layers in my songs comes from the way that I want the stories to feel like they are being lived as you listen to it. Specifically with I Love You, I Lied, when I wrote that song, there's a really strong visualization for me in that. And I Love You, I Lied, when I write it and when I see it, is almost like when you see a relationship and it's on like a movie reel. Like you see all these flashes of scenes and bits and pieces, and they're all kind of scattered, and then you don't really know how long you've been in that space for until, do you know when you stay up till 4 a.m. and there's TV on and you kind of hear that cable TV where they're like, buy 3 pots and get the fourth one for free, sort of like the American sort of TV shows? That's exactly why I put that in there, and the sound is actually a Dr. Phil grab because of that. And I'm not even joking. And why I wanted that there is because for I Love You, I Lied, it's about me reflecting on such an intense period that when I kind of snap out from that and snap out from going into that space of memory, I don't know what time it is. I don't know where I am. And all I hear is just a TV kind of coming in. And because of the nature of it, I wanted it to be from the US. I wanted it to be a sense of everything else is asleep and you're awake. And I think that incorporating more of those layers into my songs, overall, the purpose of that is to make the listener feel as close as they can to the story as possible. And Truly is a really beautiful one. Personally, it's my favorite out of the entire EP. And it's because that ticking sound really comes from the feeling of you don't know when everything's just going to blow up. It's just kind of waiting and you're waiting, and Truly has a really beautiful space where it's this pull and this push and this pull and this push, and you don't really know where the release is there until that little moment in the bridge where everything kind of opens up. And that ticking really is the core of when will everything kind of come crashing down.
Yeah, wow. So it sounds like there's a lot of thoughtful, I suppose, consideration that goes into these stylistic choices. So are these often things that you think of afterwards, or is it often one of the first parts of the conceptualization where you know that these are elements that you want to have in a song, even though you haven't fully shaped it out yet?
I think that it really comes from going back to that previous question, the collaboration. When I talk, as we can probably tell, I can kind of rattle off a little bit, but when I talk about my songs and what's inspired them, I have the producers, when I say something, be like, oh, that's a really cool way that you've put that. So talking about Truly, I did describe it as something that felt like it was going to explode, and then the producer going like, that's a cool idea, how that, something explodes, and then you just rattle off from there and be like, well, how do we represent that? And I think that it's not something that I necessarily go, I definitely want a ticking sound in there, unless there's been a reference track that's inspired me. So at the moment, a lot of Joji is inspiring me, and that artist tends to use a lot of those little sound grabs in there. So I think, yeah, it's a bit of both, but mainly comes from that collaboration of being able to talk about my stories, and when I articulate it, finding out those really cool pieces of phrasing that goes, so how do we show that? How do we hear that rather than just straight out say that?
Wonderful. And on that note of collaboration, not only do you have to collaborate in the studio, but also on stage with your live band. So tell us about how that experience is different.
I love performing, and I think that there is definitely a very a very extended Sarah Yagki experience of performing. I have tried really hard to get the songs on Spotify to reflect them as best I can, but I think that there is still a process as an artist of me doing that. But with the live shows, it's full of energy, it's full of emotion, and I have been really lucky to have a bunch of people who have followed me along the journey of that. And I was watching a couple of videos from years ago, and I can see how much that I've grown, and that's such a big thing, and I'm very grateful for that. And it wouldn't be without my band. My drummer Anthony, he spends hours together, like putting together tracks, making it sound great. My guitarist Ethan and I constantly bicker in the best way about, you get two dominant instruments, vocals and guitar, and really trying to lead that and fight for that little bit of moment there. But yeah, it's been really great to have the band up there because it does encourage that space of we're all doing this together. We're all really making the most of these songs, and being able to translate that live is such a great experience to do.
So, a quintessential part of your vocals is that you sing your own harmonies in many of your songs. How do you overcome that hurdle in your live performances?
I am very lucky because it's a blend of both using tracks and also my bass player Evie. We do have a lot to discuss in terms of where we really want the harmonies to shine. So especially those higher ones, I'll tend to have her do it at the start of the show, so I can ease my voice into those bigger notes that I usually save till the end of the show. And it's really just a discussion of purpose, placement, and the effectiveness of when it comes in. Even for the tracks, I make sure that all my lead vocals are all there, all being performed, and the only time that there's extra vocals is if there is extra harmonies. And I tend to put a lot of vocals in there, so unfortunately we do not have 30 Sarahs to do that, but we can make the most of just finding that space, because the vocals for the tracks create this warmth for me. It's a very big part of my music. I want there to be that warmth, that like roundness to it. And I guess that with live shows, it's a blend of, you know, keys especially bringing that warmth, my lead vocals, Evie on harmonies, but also those extra bits of like electronic, I guess, sounds that create that warmth automatically, and bringing that into the show and navigating when that really comes in. We did a rehearsal yesterday, and I had a plan for, you know, this one song is going to have all these harmonies, and then the second we played it, all of us were like, that's a lot of Sarahs, that is way too many. So it's just hearing it in different contexts and finding the best way to put it where it's not so in your face, but you still feel it.
I can tell that you love performing, because the second we asked about it, your face just lit up, and we can tell that you're excited for this weekend. So if I'm not mistaken, I've read that you performed a whopping 180 plus shows. That's a lot of performing. So what have been some of the highs and lows of your live career so far?
I really loved, so for the lead singer of Eskimo Joe, I asked myself and my guitarist to jump on board touring with him. So we did 5 shows, and I was kind of scared. I was like, this guy's kind of big. Is he going to be rude to me? Am I just going to be sitting there in a corner like, oh, can I do this? But he was so lovely, so lovely. We like had dinner all together at backstage. He was telling me all these things about him going overseas and all these American awards. And that was a really big highlight. And my guitarist, bless him, but he's just sitting there kind of like, he's talking to us. That's so cool. Which was really cool. So he's great, and he likes all my Instagram photos and is really supportive there. So being able to perform and support him was really great. We also got to perform and open for Montaigne at the University of Wollongong, which was sick. And I guess the highlight for me right now in my headline career was the last Oxford Art Factory, the first and the previous one that I did, because I have a tendency to kind of hide before the performance. I like to be backstage. I like to center myself. I like to be like, all right, let's get in the zone a bit. And waddling myself up on stage and seeing how many people were there, because we did sell it out, I was like, oh, that's a lot of people. Okay, let's do this. But I didn't realize how many people were there because I hid. And then I came out and I was like, oh, okay, we're doing this. And I think that was great. I remember that exact feeling of going up there and being like, I got this. I'm confident. You got this. But yeah, those are my highlights.
So you have a huge state-spanning New South Wales tour coming up.
Yeah.
What can audiences expect from these shows, and why should they pick up a ticket?
I definitely think that you should come to these shows because they're all different versions of Sarah Yagki. I construct my shows with an idea of, you know, again, the driving factor of purpose. There's different settings where it's 2-piece, 3-piece, 5-piece, 4-piece, and I make a really conscious decision to be able to show all layers of Sarah Yagki. I think that headline shows are definitely when you see the fullest of my live performance, and you know, there's also tours on there where it's a 3-piece, so you get to hear them a bit stripped back and you get to hear different elements. So wherever you really are, stop by, say hi. I have red hair. It's very hard to miss me. So yeah, I'm really excited, and I think you should come because it definitely, I think that every time I do perform, I get at least a couple of people coming up being like, oh, I wasn't expecting it to go that hard. And I was like, yeah, it does. Thank you. So yeah,
it should be a lot of fun. Is there one song from the new EP that you're particularly excited to share with an in-person crowd?
I'm excited for Ecstasy because every single time, and I'm not joking, I'm very honest, every single time I perform that, someone's come up to me and gone, where can I hear it? And I'm like, not yet. And now I can actually finish the song and be like, that's on Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, whatever you use. It's out there now. I have this one really strong fan named Chelsea, and she has been asking for that song for ages, and she has not stopped listening to it since it's come out. Shout out to Chelsea. So that's been amazing, and I'm really excited for that because people can now hear it, they'll know the lyrics, they'll know the vibe, and it's going to be pretty sick to hear everyone go hard on that. I think that sounds cool when I say that. I feel very lame when I say that.
Well, we all know that Chelsea is going to be super
Exactly.
So what is in the future for you?
I am really excited because all the songs after the EP that I want to release this year are pretty much done. So I've got a really strong idea of what's the song after this, what's the song after that, and I am really focusing on my releases and making sure that you guys can all hear really close to sound of what it is to have Sarah Yagki music out there. And I'm really excited this year because there is going to be a lot of a stronger impact and representation of my music visually. So as an independent artist, music videos take a while because they're expensive. There's so much else that has to come first, but I'm actually recording the next video at the time of this recording on Monday. So straight after the show, 2 days later, I go into some music video recordings, which I'm really excited for. So more music videos, and as always, more live performances.
Super exciting to hear that there is so much more in the works and that you're really working hard to get it all out there. I just want to ask, what's one thing that you've learned since the last time you performed that you're going to be taking with you on this upcoming tour?
I think the main thing that I have taken, which I was actually thinking about last night in the rehearsal, was that the way that I perform and the way that I express myself, and not just in an emotional space, but physicality, will come as long as I let everything go. And I think that it's, as a pop artist, you're like, I've got to move like this. I've been able to feel so much more freedom in the way that I perform and the way that I let myself move on stage. And I think that that's been the biggest thing for me. It's seeing like you're right in that situation again, and the way that your body and your facial expressions come will be the most authentic to that story the more you let that go. Yeah.
So before we let you go and release more fantastic music for us, we have one more question for you. We like to ask our guests that come on the show to choose 2 songs to put into our fantastic Uni Tunes playlist. One song from your own repertoire and another song from another artist. Go.
Ooh. I'm gonna have to say I Love You, I Lied by Sarah Yagki for me. And I am also going to say Family Traditions by Grace, Grxe. I'm really good friends with them. They're an Australian band. I just finished off some writing with the drummer, and I want to be able to support, independent Australian musicians. So check out Grace.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. We cannot wait for everything that is coming in the future. So make sure everyone listening, you check out one of her shows, check out Sarah's new music because it's all brilliant and you don't want to miss out.
Thank you guys for the chat.
Thank you so much. We'll hopefully see you soon.
That's all, folks.
See you soon.